Right. Game of Thrones, Season 8, Episode 4, episode review. I'm going to start right out by saying that I don't have anything intelligent to say about this besides kind of noting the obvious. So if you want to skip this one, fine by me. But having made a project of reviewing all the Season 8 episodes, I'm going to soldier on and kind of give my thoughts in this one, even though they're mostly kind of hitting the obvious points. The first thing to note is, again, something that's obvious, but it's only just occurring to me now, is kind of the dilemma from the screenwriter's point of view of doing a final season. Because there are so many plot threads to wrap up, and you don't want to wait until the last episode to wrap everything up because you can't. On the other hand, they want to keep everybody watching until the last episode, right? They don't want you by episode 4 to say, all right, okay, I know where this is going now. I can see the direction they're going in. Because then why would you watch till the final episode? So they have this dilemma of, on the one hand, trying to wrap up all these different character arcs and all these different plot lines, but at the same time, they don't want to give away their hand too soon, so some stuff is getting resolved, but at the same time, they're trying to add in complexity to kind of keep you watching right till the final season. I have, in my past, tried my hand at writing fiction, but if I'm totally honest with myself, I could not do this. These screenwriters are way above my league. We'll see how well it all gets resolved in the final episode. If they end up kind of pulling this off or not. But yeah, I guess that's the thing they're doing now, is they're heading towards the final episode, but at the same time, they're kind of adding in some more complexities. At the same time, things are definitely getting simpler now, huh? It's just kind of two armies against each other instead of all these different factions now. So the episode kind of starts off with all these kind of character moments and not a lot of action, just people talking. And I thought, okay, fair enough. We had one episode of big action, and now we're going to have one episode of character moments. Which is why, oh, by the way, spoilers. Which is why it completely took me off guard when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, that big battle happened. And I know it was supposed to take you off guard. They were lulling you into that kind of false sense of tranquility, and then boom. But they got me. Yeah, that worked. Yeah, and then that dragon died, huh? So these dragons, I can't say I was completely surprised when that second dragon died. Because let's face it, 3 dragons have always been redundant. All you really need is one dragon to kind of tell the story you want to tell. One dragon is a big enough threat. You don't need 3 dragons. So when that 3rd dragon died in the 6th season, I thought, okay, fair enough. And when that 2nd dragon died, I thought, well, okay, I'm not completely surprised. All you really need is one dragon. And yet at the same time, the show has, throughout the seasons, really built up this emotional attachment that she has to her dragons, like they are her children or something like that. So when a dragon dies, you really feel for it, not because the dragon itself has that much character, but because you've been taught over all these seasons to kind of feel for the emotional attachment she has to it. The storyline didn't give a lot of beats to kind of process her grief over the dragon. And we already had kind of her grief over the dragon in the previous season, so too much of that would have been redundant. Kind of kept moving along here. Those arrows that kind of took out the dragons and then kind of took out that whole fleet. When I saw that, I'm like, wait, where did this come from? This is something new and out of the blue, right? They didn't have this technology to kind of take out dragons with arrows or to kind of destroy whole fleets. And then the longer I thought about it, the more I kind of seemed to remember that there was something about this in the previous season. Wasn't there? Now, I actually, that previous season was 2 years ago now. So it's all a bit faded in the memory. And some of my friends kind of binge watched all 7 seasons before season 8. But I could not do that. Very busy these days, kind of, and a baby at home, right? Cannot possibly find time to binge watch all 7 seasons again. And I suspect most of the world is probably like me. It's all a bit faded in the memory. Although for posterity's sake, I mean, going forward in the future, the next generation is not going to be beholden to broadcast schedules. They're just going to stream these all off of Netflix or buy the DVD set as a whole or something like that. So it'll make more sense for future audiences. Okay, right, so yeah, so those arrows I think were set up in the previous season, now that I think about it. Yeah, and then it's all coming down to now a battle between Cersei's army and the other army. Cersei, yeah, is being set up as the villain here, and she's a character that's always been... She's always been not good, but she's had moments of being sympathetic. But I think... And they toyed with that a little bit, right? With that speech that her brother gave to her. But they're definitely moving towards more in the line of making her not good this season. And that Greyjoy character, what was his name? Euron Greyjoy? He's always been kind of set up from day one to be no good. And there have been a few characters like this in Game of Thrones, characters that are just obvious villains. But yeah, I guess he's one of them. It's always been a little bit unclear to me why Cersei is kind of putting up with him, given what an obvious knob he is. Except the show was trying to make it very clear that he's a useful ally to her. So I guess that's the reason right there. And then, yeah, a few shocking character deaths, but they made sense. They were kind of advancing the plot that needed to be advanced here. So, yeah. I'm not sure I really have much else intelligent to say. Or I'm going to turn off the camera and then think of something else I wanted to say. But that's the life of vlogging, isn't it? So, yeah, I'll just end it here. Well, no, other than to say... all in all, a gripping episode, completely held my attention. Yeah. And now I'm very much kind of on pins and needles waiting for how this is all going to play out in the next episode.